Hi, I'm Dana. Today I want to talk about how to transition from 3 naps down to 2. This has been a really popular question lately, so I think it deserves a little bit of a chat. This one can be really tricky, and I find that most babies around the 6-month mark start to show signs of dropping to 2 naps. But the tricky part is that sometimes they need 3 and sometimes it feels like 2, and there's lots of back and forthing going on your part, and you're really not sure what's going on. So I want to give you some signs and tips today for how to watch and make the decision that your baby is ready. One thing is that their stamina improves. So you've been putting this baby down every hour and a half to 2 hours, but now you've noticed that they're not really seeming all that tired when you put them down, or it's taking 20 minutes or longer for baby to fall asleep once she is in the crib. If anything takes longer than 20 minutes, that's usually a good sign that you need to start waiting a little longer between naps. The other thing to watch for is that often morning nap becomes really nice and long. You're getting 2.5 hour morning naps, and then the timing gets a little tricky the rest of the day, and you feel like, well, there's not really time for a 3rd nap anymore because that big morning nap has pushed the whole day down. That would be a good sign that it's time to transition. Another sign might be that 2nd nap or 3rd nap, usually the 3rd nap, is getting a lot of protest, right? You try to put baby down for this 3rd nap, they just cry right through it, or they play and cry and do sort of an alternating between the two for an hour or more. By the time they do fall asleep, now you're wondering, well, what do I do now? Do I wake her up because it's almost bedtime? And it gets really, really tricky. So those are some of the common signs that you'll start seeing when your baby's ready. But the hard part is stretching them to get to 2 naps. So it's going to mean you're going to have to push them a little bit. Now, I talk a lot about overtiredness, a lot, in the Sleep Sense program, in these videos. I warn you about it constantly. And so a lot of people are super nervous to make this step because they're concerned they're going to push their baby into overtiredness. And you might, for the short term. But we don't want to push too hard because that's going to backfire, but we want to do a gentle push. So I suggest that you step into this slowly. So if she used to go 2 hours between naps, then we're going to push it to 2 hours and 15 minutes for about 3 or 4 days. See how she's doing with that, give her body time to adjust. Then we'll push it to 2 hours and a half between naps and see how she's doing with that. Then 2:45, then 3, and stop at 3 and see how she's doing. Give it about a week. Again, the body clock needs time to catch up and adjust, even to small change. So give it about a week before you decide if it's working or not, and move in that direction. Now, the trouble often is that the 2nd nap isn't long enough. So let's say you put her down at 2 o'clock for the 2nd nap, and by 3 o'clock she's awake. And now you're thinking, she's got to wait till 7 for bedtime. That's a lot of time to kill before we get to bedtime. And she may need a little cat nap sometime around the dinner hour, maybe the 5 o'clock hour. You take her out in the stroller for 20 minutes or the car for 20 minutes and just give her a little bit of a cat nap. Anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes would be just fine to take the edge off a little bit and carry her through until her bedtime. Now let's say she doesn't sleep. You tried the walk and she just didn't sleep. Now you're wondering, what should I do about bedtime? You can always move bedtime earlier for the short term. She could be in bed for 6 o'clock. I've even had kids, told mom to put them down for 5:30 bedtime. I mean, really, there's no such thing as too early for bed if it's a choice between pushing her into overtiredness or having an oddly timed nap. Earlier bedtime is always my first choice. Now, that's not where it's going to stay. I promise you, you're not going to have a 5-year-old still going to bed at 5:30 in the afternoon. It's just for the short term, until her body adjusts, until naps get nice and long, and then we can start moving her bedtime to a more appropriate time, which would roughly be 7:30. Now, it does take about 4 weeks for a body clock to adjust to this change. So don't jump the gun. Don't second guess yourself. If you've tried for a few days and it doesn't seem like it's working, it's tempting to go back into 3 naps. But once you've made the decision to move to 2, then just go for it. Just see it through, give her body time to adjust, and it'll all fall into place. I find going back and forth just confuses the body clock, and it's not going to make the situation better for anybody. Okay, so I hope that helps you today. Thanks for watching. Sleep well.